move it, enjoy the money.
Thanks for being with us. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Taste Australia.
Tonight on 7 News, back to school for thousands of students. Class takes on a whole new look. What other parents can expect in 2 weeks.
Breaking news, a senior education executive stood aside following Jackie Trad's resignation on the day the Premier's new leadership team was sworn in.
Their challenge, prevent a second wave and rebuild Queensland. Special reports as the state's recovery begins.
Snakes alive on a man's head on a Brisbane train.
Exclusive pictures, explosive confrontations with police escalate. The new way officers are being trained to save lives.
And radical real estate. The Brisbane home for sale complete with its indoor skate bowl.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. Queensland's oldest and youngest students have finally returned to school.
But with strict safety measures in place, children, parents and teachers are enduring a forced readjustment to another new routine.
Goodbyes at the gates. At John Paul College, parents were limited to the car park. The students spilled into their classes full of excitement.
Because I get to learn new things.
Seeing their friends and teachers for the first time in weeks.
Thank you for being an excellent teacher. From David.
They filed up the hill and into their classrooms with hands out for sanitizer.
Thanks, Ivy.
Or soap.
Well done, well done.
To get the timing right, Olivia Lee wrote a special song.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I see, the whole wide world is my language.
Which she invented during quarantine.
I think it was terrible. Because we don't get to meet our best friends sometimes.
Finally reunited, Prep C discussed the important issues first.
We've got to be careful because we don't know where the virus is. So
The
what we're going to... It's so tiny.
A topic of interest at West End too,
In between your fingers.
where at drop-off, children had to contain their excitement.
They're all rushing forward for hugs, so we're doing elbow high fives.
The red carpet was rolled out at Emmanuel Lutheran College, but at Samford the fanfare wasn't a distraction enough. On the Gold Coast, mixed feelings from some seniors.
Kind of scared that it will be too risky.
With their OPs at risk, they don't want any more distractions. Education Queensland's preparing for all other grades to come back in a fortnight, but if transmission rates increase, that return date could be pushed back. Some taking extra precautions to stop the spread where social distancing is near impossible. Tom Hartley, 7 News.
And later in the bulletin, as Queensland students start heading back to the classroom, how our children fared homeschooling. Don't miss the report card soon on 7 News.
We have breaking news now, and the Jackie Trad scandal has claimed another scalp. Joel Dry, this time it's within the Education Department.
Max, and someone very high up, the Director General of the Education Department, has just released a statement saying that a senior executive from within the department has been stood aside effective immediately. It doesn't mention who the person is, nor does it specifically mention the Jackie Trad scandal, but it is understood that this action against the executive is in relation to the CCC investigation into the appointment of a principal to the brand new Inner City South State Secondary College, an investigation that ultimately cost Jackie Trad her job as Treasurer and Deputy Premier. This crisis tonight is deepening for the government at a time it wants to be solely focused on restarting Queensland. Life returning to the CBD. Workers on lunch breaks, people back riding public transport. The road to recovery underway in the Sunshine State, and this, the ministerial team to lead the way.
We need to look after the people of this state.
A break in tradition, socially distant signings and no handshakes, but a bow and applause. The shake-up forced by the weekend resignation of Jackie Trad, gone from Cabinet after allegations she interfered in the selection of a school principal.
People make great sacrifices when they are away from their families and they are serving the state.
Stephen Miles will step up as Deputy Premier and continue as Health Minister. Cameron Dick becomes the new Treasurer. Kate Jones is taking up the role of State Development. Craig Crawford now responsible for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander partnerships. And member for Gladstone, Glenn Butcher, promoted to Cabinet as Minister for Regional Development and Manufacturing.
Today's swearing in is just more musical chairs.
It was a bad government yesterday, it was a bad government the week before, and it's still a bad government.
While the timing of this reshuffle is far from ideal, the team of ministers who signed on here today is the one the Premier will have to help guide the state through one of the most challenging periods in Queensland's history. The immediate challenge, keep the virus contained. Today, no new cases were recorded, leaving the total at 1,045.
To put that in context for you, we were anticipating more than 1,250 new cases a day if we had been unable to constrain that first wave of the virus.
Their job, try to prevent a second. Joel Dry, 7 News.
With international travel off the agenda, the Gold Coast is preparing to go big and bold in the battle for domestic tourists. Industry bosses are asking for an urgent injection of $7 million and permission to trade on the beach.
On the Gold Coast's road to recovery, first stop, council chambers, tourism heavyweights seeking an extra boost of $7.3 million from ratepayers for a marketing blitz like no other.
There's going to be a fierce competition for our visitors.
We need to keep investing and re-engineering ourselves.
The cash splash would saturate TV screens, billboards and social media with pictures like these targeting the drive market, Melbourne and Sydney.
We absolutely need to step up to the plate. Everyone is going to be scrambling for the same market.
Destination Gold Coast wants to up the ante, opening up debate to open up the hinterland and our beaches for business.
My view is, and it upsets people, we need to, have commercialisation of the beaches, like Bali.
A big call considering sunbaking was banned just last month. But Destination Gold Coast expects this year will see a reduction of 10 million tourists, costing the industry $4.3 billion, down 74% on last year. In a city that thrives on tourism, the stakes are huge. 60,000 jobs rely on the sector, meaning 20% of the coast's workforce is at risk. Opening up the theme parks also essential, but unlikely to happen anytime soon, which could still be months away. On the Gold Coast, Amanda Abate, 7 News.
Economists are predicting the biggest budget deficit in Australian history, more than $140 billion, as the coronavirus exacts a gigantic toll on our economy. Adding to the country's financial woes, the rebuild needed after summer's devastating bushfires.
The fires may be out, but the challenges are still smouldering.
The impact of those bushfires was absolutely devastating.
Sending another $650 million in recovery funds to rebuild communities.
It's a locally led recovery, not a Canberra-led recovery, and we will be building back better.
A theme Labor leader Anthony Albanese also wants to guide the recovery from the coronavirus crisis.
A once-in-a-generation chance to reshape our economy.
Reshape and rebalance, arguing that those who have the least have suffered the most.
The broadest burden has been put on the narrowest shoulders.
Committing Labor to winding back the casualisation of the workforce and reviving manufacturing, as Deloitte Access Economics predicts budget deficits peaking at $143 billion this year and falling to $33 billion within 3 years.
People worry about those big deficits. They're good news. Right? That's the budget taking care of families.
Treasury is planning to review the largest of those supports, the $130 billion JobKeeper scheme, but Scott Morrison says there are no plans to cut it or shut it down early.
All of this is very premature. We are 6 weeks into a 6-month program.
Treasurer Josh Frydenberg will deliver an economic update on that program when Parliament returns tomorrow, the traditional budget lock-up day, instead focusing on the coronavirus lockdown. Mark Riley, 7 News.
We'll be able to enjoy even more freedom this weekend with work underway to reopen council facilities across the southeast. From Saturday, restrictions will also be eased for thousands of businesses, but some say it won't make a difference.
The calm before the storm.
We're feeling very excited.
At Lush Town Beauty in New Farm, Keely Gabanis has been inundated with bookings since announcing her team will be back in business this Saturday.
It's been crazy. The phone's going ballistic, the online booking's going ballistic.
Welcome, of course, reopening means Keely's 13 employees have jobs once again.
I'm actually in the middle of writing the roster now.
Boot camps will also be back.
Let's go back into some squats.
crucial for Chris Hennessy, who runs the outdoor club at Graceville.
Can't wait to get everyone back in the park. It's been a long 7 weeks that we've gone online. We've changed the whole model of our business.
As did Farmhouse Kedron, which transitioned to takeaway, preparing now to also welcome dine-in patrons, even if it's only 10 at a time.
Kedron and our customers have been amazing, but I know they're dying to sit down, so we're going to use outside space.
While business owners know this is a step in the right direction, for many opening for just 10 people simply isn't viable.
We're still going through crunching numbers to see if it is worth it for us.
We're just going to open up some outdoor seating. It's not really worth the cost of hiring staff to reopen the whole restaurant.
Work is underway to reopen council facilities, including barbecues, basketball courts and BMX tracks. Playgrounds too, a city slowly coming alive. Emily Arnold, 7 News.
5 men remain in hospital tonight after an underground gas explosion at a Moranbah mine. Rosanna King's son, a board of inquiry has been announced.
Max, it has, to investigate the incident as well as mine safety across Queensland. It will be led by a former judge or Queen's Counsel and contain technical experts. They'll have the power to call witnesses and hold public hearings. The Mines Minister today saying the underground explosion was completely unacceptable.
This is the first such inquiry in more than 2 decades, because this is the first underground gas explosion we've had in more than a quarter of a century. The last one at Mara in 1994.
After the inquiry into Mauer, there were sweeping changes to the mines industry. But for the men in hospital tonight, there has been no change. 4 remain in a critical condition.
Thanks, Rosanna. Disturbing new details have emerged about the alleged behaviour of the Porsche driver involved in a Melbourne freeway crash that killed 4 police officers. Richard Pusey is applying for bail. The hearing told he spent 3 minutes filming and narrating a video of the tragic crash scene.
A psychologist says Richard Pusey has fantasised about killing people, and police claim he boasted about speeding at 300 kilometres per hour on the Eastern Freeway. But his lawyer says he isn't a risk to the public. As Pusey sat flanked by guards and wearing a mask, prosecutors claimed he'd previously been kicked off a plane for calling an air hostess a fat cow, intimidated staff at a bank and threatened to drive a car down Burke Street in what police claim could have been a James Gargasoulis-style attack. Police concluded he takes a disturbing pleasure in causing others fear and discomfort. As for Pusey allegedly filming a dying officer, his lawyer said he may have been in shock and still traumatised. People react to trauma in different ways. The informant hit back. Yes, but they don't walk around filming and zooming in. His conduct in taking those videos and photos doesn't say shock. When asked what he should have been doing, police said he could be administering CPR. Well, you'd have to be trained in CPR. Police replied, your client is a registered nurse. Police say Richard Pusey lashes out when he doesn't get his own way. They worry if released, he'll launch a campaign of harassment and intimidation targeting witnesses. A decision on his freedom will be made on Thursday. Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Britain's suffering has been immense, but in a primetime national address, Boris Johnson has confirmed the UK is taking its first careful steps out of lockdown. The process, though, will be very slow, with little changing for most. Anything else, he said, would be madness.
After nearly 8 weeks in lockdown, Britain's Prime Minister put the UK on a path out. Not yet, but soon.
No, this is not the time simply to end the lockdown this week.
Millions of Britons watched a 14-minute explanation of what Boris Johnson called the first sketch of a roadmap to lift the lockdown, encouraging a return to work if necessary, but not to use public transport. And as Britain faces its worst economic downturn in 300 years, shops will stay shut until at least June, pubs until at least July.
This campaign against the virus has come at colossal cost to our way of life.
And incoming visitors will face 2 weeks quarantine, but not yet. The death toll across Britain now standing at nearly 32,000. Tragic, Boris Johnson said. Officially, 4,000 people a day across Britain are testing positive to coronavirus, but government advisors have told the Prime Minister the real number is closer to 18,000 people a day still falling sick. And Boris Johnson's been warned if he lifts the lockdown too soon, 100,000 Britons could be dead from coronavirus by the end of the year. The Queen is reportedly taking special precautions, now staying at Windsor indefinitely, giving up her traditional summer holiday at Balmoral with public engagements cancelled to ride out what Boris Johnson says is a vicious threat to Britain. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
80,000 people have now died in America from COVID-19. The threat continues to hover over the White House, with Vice President Mike Pence the latest to take time away from work as heavily armed protesters roam the streets.
Demanding freedom from virus restrictions in North Carolina, parading weapons big and bigger, stopping for a bite to eat with shotguns and an inactive rocket launcher. Keeping his distance, Vice President Mike Pence reportedly laying low for a day or two after an aide tested positive. With the White House exposed, 3 leaders of the US response went further. Infectious diseases expert Dr. Anthony Fauci going into modified quarantine, and those in charge of disease control and drug approval self-isolating for 2 weeks.
It is scary to go to work. I think that I'd be a lot safer if I was sitting at home than I would be going to the West Wing.
A symbol of the growing outbreak was this tent hospital being set up in Central Park, but now it's being dismantled as the infection rate here falls to its lowest level since late March. But for New York State, that still means more than 500 new patients being admitted to hospital and more than 200 deaths every day.
But the city will have to wait, leaving New Yorkers to make the most of their rooftops for now. In New York, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Now on to the weather, and Tony, it was a little cooler today.
Yeah, Sharyn, it was cooler than yesterday, but with beautiful blue skies like this, well, it's been well worthwhile if you could get out into the sunshine, even for just a little bit. Toowoomba was coldest on 5 degrees overnight, while most coastal spots stayed well into the teens. Today, close to average. Coolangatta reached 22 degrees, Brisbane a little bit warmer on 25. High cloud is set to build tomorrow. I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Hey, Tony, see you then. A man walks onto a train with a snake. No, it's not the start of a bad joke. Next, the bizarre things commuters have been caught carrying onto public transport.
See the new robot set to police social distancing.
Freedom at last for Danny, the best-dressed koala in Australia.
And before weather, the southeast home where the lounge room is a skate bowl.
Seven News, brought to you by Industry Superfunds.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
I have been watching you, Matt.
I've lived in Broken Hill my whole life.
What bloody flies?
You got to sort of make your own fun a bit out here. Really got that community spirit.
I am Big Brother, and I've chosen you. Welcome to my brand new house.
I hope I'm a pretty likeable guy.
Let's hope you're ready for what I've got planned.
Big Brother, what are you playing at?
Who wins? You decide.
A lot of us are spending more time at home. Ow. Using a lot more electricity and internet. Unfortunately, iSelect can't help with your naked partner walking past your big presentation. But we could help shrink those household bills. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect on 13 19 20.
Hi honey, I've got the pork roast. I'll be home soon.
Riverview Farms pork roast. Perfectly cooked for your family and ready to go, just like Nana made it every time.
Feed the family with Hungry Jack's new family bundle. Treat yourself with 2 Whoppers, 2 cheeseburgers, 4 small chips, 4 Cokes, 10 nuggets and sauce, only $24.95. Get takeaway, drive-through or delivery at Hungry Jack's.
My perfect bowl is just right in first, Greek yogurt on top.
The secret is fruit.
Have you tried yogurt?
No, sister. Marcate.
Just right's already got fruit in it. What do you want to add more fruit for?
It's the best way to start the day.
Is your home bursting at the seams? Call Storage King. Whether you just need to create more space, kids homeschooling, working from home, or your family and business need to declutter, Storage King has the answer. With stores everywhere, there's a location just around the corner. Making Storage King the kings of storage, moving and more. Temporary or permanent solutions with no lock-in contracts and contactless move-in. Call now and let Storage King give you back some space.
At Nature's Own, we know that fatigue can be either physical or mental. Nature's Own sleep and energy range can help you improve the quality of your sleep or support energy production throughout your day. Nature's Own. Be body smart.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
A robot dog helping healthcare workers worldwide has arrived down under. Spot looks more like something out of a movie, but has been a big asset during COVID-19. He's recently been used to monitor social distancing in Singapore and reduce contact between health workers and patients in the US. Spot is now in Western Australia, where he'll be used in a number of industries, including mining and defence.
Southeast commuters have been caught carrying some bizarre items onto our trains. A sword, a whippersnipper and even a snake have been spotted on board as police crack down on passengers.
Cuddling his girlfriend at Morayfield Station, this man seems oblivious to the creature slithering around his head. But as soon as he steps on a train, passengers make a beeline for the guard and police arrive quickly. It's not long before the man and his snake are forced to disembark.
It's not an everyday occurrence, however, when they do occur, we will respond rapidly.
That's exactly what happened when this man boarded a train with a sword at Narangba. After seizing it, police charged him with going armed to cause fear.
In those rare cases where we do require a police response, we'll coordinate that and then they make an assessment of whether charges are appropriate or not.
There are 12,000 CCTV cameras across the City Train network, so not much goes unnoticed, not even this whippersnipper. The man holding it was let off with a warning, but he, like everyone else taking banned items onto the train, faced fines of up to $266. The 17 banned items detected over the past 3 months don't include illicit drugs. That criminal activity is the target of regular police operations. Police also recently seized this knife from a teenager who was using it to vandalise windows. If you're planning on riding the rail, it's worth noting that anything that can't be stored safely or could pose a threat is not allowed on board. Alison Sandy, 7 News.
With Paris set to ease its social restrictions, the Eiffel Tower has been lit up in honour of those who kept the city safe during the coronavirus outbreak. It featured portraits of healthcare workers and a message which read, "Thank goodness you were there." The city will begin reopening shops and schools in the coming hours.
Some of the biggest names in comedy have come together at a distance for an online fundraiser. Will Ferrell got things started as the stars thanked essential workers and others.
Shout out to Jigsaw Puzzles, especially those edge pieces. Thanks for getting us started.
The event raised money for food charity Feeding America, aimed at helping children during the coronavirus pandemic.
Today's police recruits are gaining a revolutionary new skill set. Next, a 7 News exclusive, officers on the front line dealing with explosive situations and their new way to defuse them.
The world's first discovery that could save the lives of thousands of Queenslanders.
The price of crime, how to find a steal at a very different auction.
An after-sport credit card breathing room, the best no-interest deals to get you back on track.
People thought
thought we were absolutely bonkers. It was a bit of a snap decision on my part.
They never imagined their home would get a reaction like this.
Oh, I do like to be wowed.
Oh, wow.
Ridiculously sophisticated.
Oh, wow.
Let me have a look at your wow face.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
Wow. Wow factor.
But the real wow will be the scores.
It's a 9. A 9.
It's a 9.
We have joint leaders.
Wow.
I think we have wow.
Only one can win. Who will it be? On House Rules, tonight 7:30.
Michael Weldon here, back again with another What's for Dinner recipe. Today is my pork and prawn pot sticker dumplings with a spicy dipping sauce. The first thing we need to do is make our filling. First of all, the white and light green part of some spring onions. And next I've got some coriander. Probably got 5 or 6 sprigs. Now we're going to use the leaves later on when we make the dressing. But for now we just want a little crunchy coriander stem. Now we're going to slice our ginger nice and thin. Take out a few of our little matches of ginger, put them into a second bowl. That's the bowl for our dipping sauce. Then the rest of our ginger, we're going to chop the other way into nice fine little dice. Now we're going to go in with some garlic, some pork mince, and then we've got our prawns. I've just got the beautiful Aussie prawn tail meat, you get it cold, peeled for you already. And all we're going to do is roughly chop this. So I've got some sesame oil, white pepper, splash of soy sauce, little pinch of sea salt, pinch of sugar as well. Just mix this together to combine. All right, so I've got our little wonton wrappers here. Now this is the fun part. Filling in the center, water on 2 of the edges, then fold together. And when you're folding, you want to push out all the air. Then just pinch it together and fold it over. All right, so we've filled all of our dumplings. Now it's time to cook them. I'm just gonna spread the oil all over the bottom of that pan and then start filling it up with our dumpling. So while our dumplings fry, we're gonna make a really quick dipping sauce. In this bowl, I've got some green beets and spring onion, and also that really finely sliced ginger from the start. I'm gonna add soy sauce, sesame oil, black vinegar, teaspoon of sugar, and tablespoon of whatever your favourite chili oil is. Now if you have a look at that, you pick one up, you see that nice fried crispy base. That's exactly what we want to get our pot stickers to before we steam them. So we've fried them. Now the second part of the cooking is the steaming. So I'm going to pour over like a cup of water, then I'm going to chuck a lid on. Okay, so it's been a few minutes, so I'm going to turn the heat off our dumplings. These are ready to plate up, ready for us to eat. Top that with our dipping sauce over the top, a little bit of coriander. That is my recipe of pork and prawn dumplings, cooked pot sticker style with a spicy dipping sauce. For this recipe and many other What's for Dinner recipes, check out the Coles website. Guys, this is What's for Dinner. Happy eating.
In the past, only specialist police negotiators had the tools to disarm deadly conflicts. Now all police are being given access to new techniques that use words instead of weapons to diffuse tense situations. Katrina Blowers with this exclusive report.
A real-life call-out to a mother and son threatening self-harm that soon becomes violent. Body-worn cameras show a new technique in action borrowed from specialised police negotiators.
I'll promise you now, you will be put in handcuffs, okay? But nobody's got any intention of shooting, tasering.
7 News was granted exclusive access to the de-escalation training now given to every police recruit.
We've been practicing not using force and police using the most important skill that a police officer has, which is communicating under pressure to people in crisis.
Inspector Corey Allen saw an opportunity for teaching police active listening techniques, sharing names and making eye contact after police reported the front line was becoming more dangerous. Last year, there was a 70% spike in the number of times officers drew their weapons. Just last month, police shot 2 alleged offenders in 2 separate incidents in 1 week.
There's a real power in showing someone respect at a time of crisis.
These strategies have been so successful, they've been adopted by other government departments, and now there's even interest from police interstate. The limited face-to-face training continuing at a time police are adapting to learning other skills digitally due to COVID-19. A recruitment revolution to get more boots on the ground.
We've made some significant progress with online learning.
A digital transition that's been so successful, it's here to stay. Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
Crime across Queensland has fallen dramatically during the COVID-19 pandemic. Data from police shows there's been a 40% drop in robberies across the state from March to April. The number of burglaries fell by even more, 43%. Car theft is down 35%, assaults by a quarter. There's also been a lot less sex crime. Police say people being forced to stay home has helped reduce opportunistic crime and made it easier to target criminals on the move.
Brisbane researchers have made a world-first discovery detecting previously undetectable throat cancer, and they did it using a saliva sample. With further trials, it could create the first screening program for a disease now more common than cervical cancer.
This young doctor detected what an MRI couldn't: throat cancer, so small, so early, using only saliva.
This is really exciting.
I'll remember that moment forever.
The man was part of a trial by biomedical scientists at QUT, one of 630 healthy, cancer-free people who gave a saliva sample every 6 months. Researchers measured levels of the cancer-causing human papillovirus, and his levels were rising. He had no pain, no symptoms, just irregular tonsils. He had them out.
The ENT surgeon, he asked me, come to Royal Brisbane right now.
They'd found a tiny cancer.
He actually came and hugged me, and he said I saved his life.
An immediate survivor of a disease he didn't know he had because of a trial by a 30-year-old researcher.
Yeah, I told my parents, definitely.
We need the numbers to prove that it works effectively in the population.
They've now applied for financial help to fund a new trial. Less than $1 million is needed. It's the same price as treating 4 people for head and neck cancer. More people now have it than cervical cancer.
It saved the health system so much money.
They're still testing and tracking trial participants in their own time. Erin Edwards, 7 News.
Buying the right gift for that special person could cost a fortune for many of us, but there is a cheaper way to get your hands on a gem. A consignment of police-rated items going under the hammer from tomorrow at a fraction of the price.
Direct from the criminal underworld, these treasured showpieces give a unique insight into the tastes of crooks with an appetite for the high end, who've been caught cutting corners to pocket their trophies, made wealthy with the proceeds of crime. For their former owners, it didn't end well, seized by the Australian Federal Police.
Somebody's done something that they shouldn't have done. They've had those things taken away from them. I'd love to be a fly on the wall.
A total of more than $1 million worth of jewellery will now be going up for auction online, discounted, we're told, up to 70% off. From watches and bangles.
There's an 18-carat rose gold Cartier bangle. Approximately $15,000 would be the retail of that. Our auction estimate is about $4,000 to $6,000.
Bit of a bargain.
A very good bargain.
To rings and necklaces.
Here we have the Cartier Trinity ring. White gold, yellow gold and rose gold. Approximately $25,000 retail.
Some that haven't even been worn.
This one's still got the tags.
Yes, it does.
But because of coronavirus, this auction won't be happening in the traditional way. Interested bidders should register with First Estate Auctions for the online bidding to start from 10 a.m. tomorrow, and all proceeds will go back to the Commonwealth Government. Evan Batten, 7 News.
For weeks now, we've been bringing your stories from in the suburbs on how communities have been surviving in lockdown. Well, from tonight, we'll be bringing you the recovery, beginning in Ipswich and Greater Springfield.
People are returning to the streets of Ipswich.
Ipswich is well known for its resilience and fighting spirit, and that's being shown now.
New Mayor Teresa Harding and her council have been working hard for life after restrictions.
We're all doing long hours. I guess we're just really trying to make sure that the community being listened to and make sure that our strategic plan and our new budget will reflect the needs of the community.
One thing that will be needed is jobs.
We have a lot of very qualified people now
looking for work and a lot of young people who are also looking for work at the same time.
The advice to those needing to upskill and stand out in a competitive market?
Leave the Xbox alone, get into job search.
Something Greater Springfield will be able to stay local for.
The next challenge for us is to make sure that we continue to deliver job-generating projects in Greater Springfield for our residents.
With several projects already in the pipeline.
I really think we really need to kick-start the Australian economy, and we want to do our part in Greater Springfield to make that happen.
And no one wants to see people kicking more than Peter.
Our phone's just been very, very busy with the announcement about the pool opening of just when are we going to get started.
His team preparing to do just that.
Having training sessions for staff, we're upgrading the computer system, we're doing renovations.
Ready to get back to business. Elliot Chipper, 7 News.
Thousands of Queensland students are back in the classroom, so how did parents go with children learning at home? Their report card next.
Naked ambition and acclaimed photographers call to those in quarantine.
Is this Australia's best dressed koala? Danny's remarkable story.
And how's this for a living room? The southeast house with its very own indoor skate bowl. Who is that anyway?
I don't know. He's a bit of a troublemaker.
Tonight, look who lands in the bay.
He brings trouble.
Here's your brother.
Tane's caught up in a life when it landed me in jail and my brother dead.
Better get used to seeing me around.
Home and Away, next on 7.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home, especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
We remain dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. Call us to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away, Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
You know, I found a dead body yesterday. Damn, these white girls love trouble.
No mercy for an honest man.
Trisha Jane Doe out of the Bay in Provincetown. Gunshot.
No angels have I.
These are bad people. Stay away from my case.
I could have saved this girl.
There's only one person you need to save.
Watch out, tide's coming in.
The brand new series, Hightown, now streaming only on Stan.
With Toyota Warranty Advantage covering you for at least 5 years, still feeling it, Mick?
We're here to keep you moving forward. That's why our Toyota dealerships and service centres are still open. Older feeling, Toyota.
Australians of all ages are choosing Light and Easy. Light and Easy can even assist those on aged care home care packages. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, call us on 13 15 12.
To finance, and the Australian share market has closed higher, up 1.3%, with easing restrictions easing concerns. The ASX 200 gaining 70 points. Afterpay closed 5% higher at $42. The surge follows news Suncorp Bank's CEO is leaving to take up a role with the Buy Now, Pay Later service. The Australian dollar remains strong, buying 65 US cents and 60 euro cents. And if you need fuel, we're in the expensive phase of the cycle, so hold off filling the tank. The average price for unleaded is $1.18. A man has died following a fatal traffic crash on the Pacific motorway in Loganholme. The 55-year-old was heading southbound in a four-wheel drive ute when he slammed into the barrier just before 6 a.m. Motorists face lengthy delays as the forensic crash unit investigated. Police are appealing for witnesses and dash cam video. While Queensland students were happy to be back in the classroom, it was the parents who showed the most excitement. Many relieved to be off homeschooling duties and a step closer to normality.
An A for effort for Queensland parents.
It's been really full on.
Disastrous.
It's been challenging.
So we had internet connection dropping out and that kind of thing, but we got through it.
Mums and dads of the state's youngest and oldest students breathing a collective sigh of relief, officially off duty from COVID-19 homeschooling.
About time. Yeah, no, it's good.
But for some, the journey now becomes a juggling act, with remaining students still at home until the end of May.
I think that was the struggle, is she's staying home and then he's back at school. He's like, but why?
After Catherine Clare dropped her youngest to school, it's then straight back to homeschooling her oldest daughter, Grace.
Part of her felt a bit funny about it because she's, they've had all this time together, but now her sort of playmate's gone. That's going to be harder for her, I think.
There is, of course, some parents who still prefer to keep their children home from school due to concerns about COVID-19. But those students won't be marked as absent, rather just learning from home.
I think that they're doing a good job with some of the protocols.
But some new rules may take a little longer to adjust.
She normally likes me to walk her up to class. Yeah, so it is a little bit hard, but we'll get used to it.
Building resilience in children and an A for adapting. Brittany Lane, 7 News.
An artist renowned for photographing large groups of Aussies in the nude has come up with a new way to keep working without breaking quarantine laws. Instead of clicking his camera, he's going virtual.
A new nude project inspired by coronavirus quarantine. American photographer Spencer Tunick normally pushes the boundaries outdoors. Now, with social distancing, he's moving his artwork indoors and online. Stay Apart Together aims to get 100 Aussies to take their gear off, taking a screenshot instead of a photo.
I will orchestrate people into different positions the same way that I've done it in public space.
The artwork will take place on Zoom and will swap the photographer's typical backdrops, like the Opera House, for participants' own homes, making it slightly more comfortable to disrobe.
Okay,
Famous for gathering people to pose in large-scale nude photo shoots from car parks in icy weather to grand European castles, the American photographer has produced more than 120 nude group installations in more than 30 countries.
Do something different, be part of an artwork, and sort of give you that sense of empowerment as well, even though it's only you.
To volunteer for his latest project, you just fire off an email. His message, simple yet powerful. Stay strong and united. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
Coming up, a helping hand in tough times, credit card deals to help ease the pressure. Plus, see the koala with a rather unusual dress sense. And inside the Brisbane home with its very own skate bowl.
If only footy fields could be built at home, Webby.
It would solve a few problems, Sharon. Hello, everyone. Coming up, AFL's D-Day delayed. Could the NRL anti-vaxxers be allowed to play? As the rest of the comp gets back to basics, with tackling allowed for the first time. And we've searched the country. Is this Australia's luckiest athlete in isolation?
It's going to knock you off your feet.
Tiger King shocked the world, but you only heard half the story.
Pair of snitches.
The key players uncensored.
I wish I could have done more to him.
Shocking footage exposed. Our burning questions answered.
He was killed.
The exclusive Tiger King. What really went down?
Shh.
Tuesday, 7:30, only on 7.
The power's in your hands and at your feet. The BMW 320i sedan from 69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
We're pregnant! Did someone say KFC?
We spend 1/3 of our lives at work, another third in dreamland, and that sacred last third here. From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So wake up happy every morning, even Mondays. Make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
When I first met Gutsy, his motions were irregular, but I've been pushing him hard. Now Gutsy is healthy and regular. Take Metamucil daily, a natural way to stay regular and support a healthy gut. What am I looking forward to? Well, I just really want what I have today.
The more life changes, the more you know what's important. MLC.
The Australian government is working hard to keep businesses in business and Australians in jobs. That's why we've introduced the JobKeeper payment. If you're a business severely impacted by the coronavirus, you'll receive a fortnightly payment of $1,500 for each eligible employee to cover their wages. For employees, it will allow millions of Australians to keep their job, including those who've been stood down. To find out more, visit australia.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Win your town's $1.69 million prize home draw. Choose Country Coastal Living in Berry on New South Wales South Coast or Magical Umundi on the Sunshine Coast. Only 400,000 tickets available at $15 each. Buy now at yourtown.com.au.
ARL Commission Chairman Peter V'landys has told 7 News he expects the Queensland Government will grant an exemption for the Titans anti-vaxxers to train and play without getting a flu shot. The news comes as teams were finally allowed contact at training.
It's been 50 days since a rugby league player was driven into the ground. Today, finally, NRL clubs allowed to belt each other again.
3 weeks to officially playing, so that's enough time to get the players up to speed.
The Titans anti-vaccine duo will have even less time. Bryce Cartwright and Brian Kelly sitting out training for rejecting a flu shot.
We've all got to do what's best to get the game up and running, and NRL's in control of that.
And they are now confident an agreement will be reached with the Queensland Government this week.
I think the Government will probably allow us to use the waiver in that situation. There's only 2 players in Queensland.
As a club, we've got to stand them down. They haven't followed protocol that the Government's now set, and until that changes, then I don't know where this will finish, to be honest.
It's not a risk to the community. It's a risk to the player themselves and to the team.
You've got different beliefs, and that's fine, but they're the rules.
New South Wales are already permitting anti-vaxxers to play, although right now they wouldn't be welcome north of the border.
I'm aware that the Queensland Chief Health Officer has indicated that that is a requirement for Queensland. We have not specifically endorsed a particular NRL plan.
I believe that the Queensland Government will approve it, just like the New South Wales did, because overall it's only a risk to the player themselves.
The NRL confident of a draw release this week, and 7 News can reveal Suncorp Stadium could host multiple teams, including the Titans, Canberra Raiders and Melbourne Storm.
We're looking at all those situations at the moment, and it'll depend on the draw and etc. So, look, those sort of details will be finalised this week.
Chris Gary, 7 News.
The AFL has delayed finalising their season return for at least another 24 hours, but finally decided on a punishment for the Adelaide Crows. 16 players received suspended one-match bans. Assistant coach Ben Hunt stood down for 6 weeks after breaking social distancing rules training in the Barossa. It came on the day Victoria relaxed their restrictions, allowing groups of 10 to train and together as of Wednesday.
We have agreed to a set of arrangements that will allow training for AFL, for rugby league, for other professional sports to resume. Training resuming paves the way for footy to be back.
But when? Queenslanders can train in groups of 10 from Saturday. Korea's K-League is already back producing world-class highlights.
And he plays it in! Oh, what an incredible goal! goal of the month anywhere in the world, but there's not been much competition.
Pretty handy for sports-starved fans. It was their first round in more than 2 months. Well, we've searched Australia and found our luckiest athlete in isolation. Despite not being able to compete in his first home World Tour event last week, life at home's extremely good for surfing prodigy Jack Robinson.
For a guy that's been riding barrels around the world and been dubbed the next big thing since his early teens, lockdown could have been a special form of torture.
Honestly, being in lockdown in Western Australia, it doesn't really feel like being in lockdown.
Especially if you're Jack Robinson and live at Margaret River, just a short drone flight upstream from one of the world's dream waves.
Typical day for me would be waking up in the morning, having some breakfast, then I'll go get my drone ready, fly out through the river, check the waves. If it's not any good, I'll come back.
If it's flat, go fishing.
Yeah, boy.
Or link up with a trainer in Hawaii and perform mind and body bending workouts worthy of an Olympic gymnast. If surf's up, it's playtime for one of the great talents ever to pick up a board. Now 22, we've seen glimpses, but after conquering the grind of the qualifying series and winning the World Cup in Hawaii, the surfing world's been frothing for Robinson's arrival for real on the World Championship Tour. Then COVID-19 intervened.
I'm not worried. I'll be ready whenever it happens. But I'm just happy to be home now, happy to be safe. Yeah, it's a really good time to be home and do homely things.
Why would you ever leave? Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
I suppose, Sharyn, if you've got to be in isolation, that's the way to do it.
Looks pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right, thank you, Evie. During these tough times, credit cards have become even more handy to juggle household expenses. Providers are now giving those drowning in credit card debt breathing space with good deals on offer for balance transfer accounts.
They're tempting, especially when times are tough.
At the height of it, it was probably about $8,500.
Avid traveller David Jackson opted for a balance transfer, which is moving your debt to a low or no interest credit card.
It's about discipline and being able to pay that off.
Usually this is a year or 2 years, but right now we can see balance transfer offers in the market up to 26 months.
The catch is, if you make further purchases, the interest rate will hit you hard. But used correctly, balance transfer is a ladder out of debt. Australians, on average, have $2,909 on credit cards. Finder.com.au has scoured the market for the best 5. Coles is the top pick, saving you $437 on a debt of $2,909 over 18 months. St George Vertigo will save you $371. City Rewards $357 over 26 months. HSBC $330 and Virgin $324.
That helped me in my instance in getting on top of my credit card debt.
You need to pay it off in that period.
Balance transfer, if used right, could be the breathing space you need coming out of COVID-19. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
Are you looking for a new home? Well, this one might just have it all. Next, we'll take you inside the Brisbane home with its very own skate bowl.
And at the moment, it's 16 degrees in Ipswich. How long will these cooler conditions last? I'll have a forecast coming up next.
There's one place to trust for all the facts.
We begin with breaking news.
Dr Jeanette Young granted 7 News exclusive access.
Turn to 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Look after your health online at health365.com.au with over 700 of your favourite Australian-owned health, vitamin and skincare products online, home delivered fast. Buy smart, buy Australian. Online at health365.com.au.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you or someone you know is affected, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice, support and counselling for women and men, contact 1-800-RESPECT. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Meatballs meet streaky bacon. Meatballs and streaky bacon meet mozzarella. Meatballs, streaky bacon and mozzarella meet melt. Meet the meatball melt with streaky bacon. Now, meet mouth.
When your hair's not weighed down,
you can do the day. Introducing new Pantene 0% silicone. Unlike silicone found in ordinary shampoos, new Pantene has nourishing lipids. The difference is clear. New Pantene 0% silicone formula gives you lightweight, smooth hair that lasts through to the next day. Do 0% silicone. Do new Pantene.
Every day, we work to make our networks stronger and more reliable. So even when we can't be close, we can still be connected together.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it. Alright, so clap it back. Hey,
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Now more than ever, we know what families are going through, so you can pick up lots of specials like 10-pack Nescafe coffee sachets or 8-pack gold sachets, now just $3.15 each. That's half price. We want you to always get your Woolies worth.
That's why I pick Woolies.
It doesn't matter where you're going, if you enjoy getting there. The BMW X1 S-Drive 18i from $49,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
This is what the world's been waiting for.
Brand new Britain's Got Talent, Wednesday.
Who is that anyway?
I don't know. He's a bit of a troublemaker.
Tonight, look who lands in the Bay.
He brings trouble.
Here's your brother.
Tane's caught up in a life when it landed me in jail and my brother dead.
Better get used to seeing me around.
Home and Away, next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by the BMW 3 Series.
In today's main stories, Queensland's oldest and youngest students have finally returned to school, but with stricter safety measures in place. The Premier has sworn in her new Labor lineup following the Jackie Trad scandal. Now a senior executive in the Education Department has been stood aside. And Destination Gold Coast is asking for permission to trade on beaches in an effort to bring more tourists to the region. A Brisbane home with a skate bowl in a lounge room is about to go under the hammer. The Queenslander has attracted some of the best skateboarders in the world, and tonight we can show you what all the fuss is about.
From the kitchen to hang time in the lounge room.
It's the coolest. We've got an indoor concrete skateboard bowl. I've never seen anything like it in Brisbane, and I'd be shocked if there was anything like it in Australia.
The 3-story Queenslander in Hamilton has been quite the ride for real estate agent Drew Davies.
The owner dared me to get in the bowl myself, so I gave it a crack.
Homeowner Justin Wood has hosted some of the world's best skateboarders, including Tom Shah, renowned for being the first to land a 1080.
We loved it. They loved it.
The previous owner built it, and when Justin moved in, the pool was also a skate bowl.
He builds skateboard parks for councils all around Australia.
It's big enough to rival some of the skate bowls you see outside, except this one never closes and weather is never an issue.
If you're a large family or an active family, this home is an absolute mecca.
There are also 6 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. The property's up for auction on June 6. Marlena Wapp, 7 News.
A koala in South Australia that got himself into a bit of a sticky situation when he wandered into a workshop and fell into a drip tray last year has been released back into the wild. Danny the koala had to be shaved following the mishap, so rescuers made him mini jumpers and clothes to keep him nice and warm.
Weather now, Tony, will need to keep the jumpers handy too.
Yes, Max, a cooler change moved through the southeast last night. It means these colder nights are going to hang around for a while yet, so keep a couple of extra layers handy after dark. During the day, though, beautiful conditions if you can get out into the sun, but it wasn't all clear skies. This photo was taken just off the southern Gold Coast late last night. Now, offshore storms are a regular feature in autumn when instability peaks just over the water and gives us some great nighttime light shows like this. Now here's a look at those offshore storms on the radar. They have eased back to mostly offshore showers today. Now tomorrow we'll see a cold front sweeping across southeastern states of the nation. High pressure just south of our border, pushing a few showers onto the coast, mostly over northern parts of Queensland. Around the capital, some late showers on the way for Adelaide and Hobart, maybe even Melbourne as well. A freezing start in Canberra. Back home to Queensland in the north, showers on the exposed coast. That means Cairns and Mackay, and they should last, well, through much of the next week, really. Staying dry in Townsville with a top of 29 degrees. Heading south, some patchy frost over the Granite Belt and windy on the coast, but it won't bring much in the way of showers. Dry tops of 26 degrees for Gladstone and Rockhampton. Across the southeast, there will be the odd morning shower grazing past the coastal fringe, especially up towards the Sunshine Coast. High cloud also building, maybe a splash of colour around sunrise or sunset. Ipswich down to 8 tonight, a top of 25. Across the suburbs, Oxley could also duck into single figures, 9 to 24 degrees there. Redcliffe tracking for 23. So in Brisbane, a partly cloudy Tuesday ahead. Cool on 12 degrees tonight and a top of 24. Nice in the sun, but cool in the shade. Now looking further ahead to the 7-day forecast, no big changes through the next week. Similar temperatures day and night. Just a slim chance of a shower on Thursday, a top of 25 degrees. In Ipswich, minimum staying fairly chilly, around 9 or 10 degrees through much of the next week. Tops a bit warmer though, up around 25 or 26 degrees. On the Gold Coast, you're a little bit more likely to see any showers from Thursday. They should continue into Friday and Saturday, maybe just a sprinkle into Sunday and Monday. Now, Sunshine Coasters, an even higher chance of showers. Wednesday, cooler on 22 degrees, warming up a bit on Thursday to a top of 24. But apart from these coastal showers, still no significant rain in sight for much of southern Queensland.
Thanks, Tony. And that's all from us this Monday. Thanks for your company.
From all the team, have a great night.
Good night.
Hello, Marissa. I have been watching you.
People might recognise me. The Rankin sisters were